Welcome to my burrow. And you know what time it is? It's that time when we start delving in to some rabbit hole here, trying to figure out what we're talking about and get to the end of it. My name is Jack, and I am a jackalope. As always, I am accompanied by my good friend and cousin, Buck.
Yep, that's me. I am the accompanist.
Mm-hmm. He plays music for us on the side. And
I'm the only black one here.
Black is a real good stretch.
Yep.
A brown rabbit.
Brown rabbit.
Though on here, you're more caramel. You're actually very close to Jill's color on here, but in real life,
I'm from the mountains of Caucasus.
Me and you are both equally white in skin tone, but
I was really doing more of a "Oh brother, where art thou?"
In the soul, you are the whitest. And joining
100%.
us this week is my wife, Jill.
Hey, howdy, hey.
And so this week just so y'all know, when we started spitballing ideas, when we first came up with this podcast idea, this was one of the ideas on a long list. And some of those we've covered, and some of those we've completely gone off the list for, and decided either that they weren't worth it or they weren't relevant, whatever. But this one has been on there, and Jill keeps bringing it up. When are we going to talk about this one? When are we going to talk about this one? I'm waiting for this one. And so the time is now. I finally was like, okay, I think we can do that one. Because Jill is a fan.
And this one actually, I think, is one of the things that, because we had a conversation about this not long before we decided to start doing the podcast. And I think this was one of the things that led to us being like, hey, maybe we should do a podcast.
Yeah, I think so. Jill, why don't you tell us what it is?
We're going to talk about my favorite filmmaker, director, writer, Mr. M. Night Shyamalan.
Collective sigh.
Let us delve into this rabbit hole.
Down and down the rabbit hole. Just how deep does it go? Where it stops, nobody knows. So let's go down the rabbit hole. Down and down the rabbit hole. Down and down the rabbit hole.
Okay, so I don't know about y'all. Probably similar stories. I didn't know who he was. My first, I think, experience with any of his movies was probably Sixth Sense, and it came out in 1999. Now, note, love horror music, but I was not always. And at this point in my life, this was maybe the turning point when I was starting to. I remember thinking that I saw dead people after I saw this movie.
And did.
In my closet.
Mm-hmm.
In your closet?
Remember you said you always imagined when we were kids, we were playing at one of my birthday parties and you were in front of the closet and you had an image of a dead person standing behind you in the closet. Do you remember this?
No.
You used to talk about it all the time, but it was right around the same time.
Twice. But
no, you actually brought this up quite a lot. But
okay. Well, I don't remember it for it to be a lot. But I will say that I remember looking down the hall in the house that I grew up in, and there was it was an ironing board that could be flipped into a seat. And it was sitting at the end of the hall. It usually sat in my parents' room, but it had this pile of clothes on it. And for some reason, when I looked down there, I saw some dead person draped over this thing. And this was right after I'd seen this movie, Dead People. So, that was kind of my intro to him. I didn't know that it was him at this point. And I don't think I would, even though I saw A couple of his movies. I don't think, because I know I saw Signs. I don't think I ever put a name to any of his works until I was in college when I saw. I think when I saw The Village. It came out the year I was born. I mean, the year I graduated. But I think I was probably already in college when I actually saw it because I saw it on VHS or on DVD, and that was the first time
Didn't
I
we
think
watch it together? I thought I watched it with you for the first time. You watched it.
not The Village.
Oh.
Lady in the Water, yes.
And then you guys suggested Lady in the Water to me. It's one of the ones I like.
Well, good.
Yeah. My favorite is Avatar.
That's a lie.
That is
Because
a lie.
that's not anyone's favorite.
And I don't count.
And not anyone's
because
favorite. We're not saying anyone's favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie. That's nobody's favorite movie ever.
Right.
Ever.
That's why you stick with what you know, and that wasn't what he knew.
Yeah. But it's because he didn't. It's not actually a story.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he's not the greatest at taking somebody else's IP and making an adaptation of it, because it ends up being a bad adaptation every time.
So is Sixth? Is that what were y'all first?
Sixth
I think
Sense.
Sixth Sense was the first one.
Yeah,
I remember.
I don't think I realized. I think it's the same boat as you. I don't think I realized who M. Night Shyamalan was whenever The Sixth Sense came out, but it was such a huge phenomenon at the time. And I remember, the thing I remember the most about it was everybody's like, it's not really that scary except for the one scene where Misha Barton is the ghost of the young girl that got poisoned or whatever, and
yes,
and then she rips into Haley Joel Osment's tent and throws up all over him.
Yes,
yeah, that was and I saw that and I was like, oh, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but
no.
I didn't like
that's
that part.
That's like the only real big jump scare I feel like. But there are other terrifying scenes, like up in the attic of that house in the when they're having the birthday party. That's pretty terrifying, especially for as a kid. And then at the end when he's like, there's somebody, they were on a bicycle, they died they were in a wreck, they died. And she's like, how do you know? He's like, she's standing by my window. That's pretty horrifying, that image.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there was a woman. There was an image of a woman who's half of her body was burned, because it shows one had the first the other side of her, and she looks normal, and she walks and she turns around, and then that was kind of creepy. There was a lot of creepiness that did go on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was definitely a good direction. And I'll say this. So the first time I actually heard M. Night Shyamalan's name was, I think it was the next big movie that he did, which was Signs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say this, I enjoyed Signs. I remember it came out when I was in high school. It was kind of still in Mel Gibson's heyday, and I thought it was a really good, unique alien movie, and it had one of the best little alien reveals in a movie that was supposed to be more scary, which was the footage from some other country where the alien just kind of
and it
walks out, and he's like,
yeah,
it's the noise I imagine him making.
Kind of does the Bigfoot walk.
Yeah,
he kind of Bigfoot walks by,
and then what's his name? The Joker was like, oh my goodness, because it was what's his name?
Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Swing,
Joaquin Phoenix.
swing away.
Swing way, Jack.
Wing away.
Swing way, Jack. And the whole fingers under the door thing.
Oh, yes.
Our generation still we still reference this movie. We still reference there whenever you talk about tinfoil hats, this movie comes up. And we use that for like anytime there's weird stuff going on, right? There, or people are into conspiracy theories or the tinfoil hat people, and then we reference this movie because they were wearing tinfoil hats. We're also anytime people talk about aliens, a lot of times this will come up because that image scarred us, I think, our whole generation.
No, I agree. And I think it had one of the coolest setups for a resolution in a movie, which was the daughter was always drinking water.
Yes.
And then they beat the alien at the end by smacking all the cups of water all over him. I don't, that's creative and it's good storytelling. And I think some people have criticized that. Like, just happened to be that they had water all over the place, but it makes sense. Like
it wasn't happened to, it was
like essentially
part of the story.
You're following the like one of the people in the world that figures out, hey, this is how you beat these guys. It's not just that. I mean, it's kind of the reason why they're important because they're the ones that figure out.
They were all kin to the Wicked Witch of the West.
That's why they're green.
And green and allergic to water.
I remember when The Sixth Sense came out and watching it like on TV, but then I remember Unbreakable coming out after that.
And that one's my favorite.
That was actually the one. Movie. That was the one that was actually
Unbreakable
right
is a really good one. But then after those two, then I became a fan of Shyamalan, and I started watching all of his movies. So then Signs came out, and then Village, and it was just like one after the other. And he just has very specific camera shots that he uses. He uses very specific actors and a very specific acting style. Just, I don't know. His storytelling is just very different and unique. And I just always I can appreciate it. It's not fluffed up by music either. Like it's just very, very quiet. The films are very quiet and they're driven by the story and the characters.
Which is definitely an interesting way. I had
never seen Unbreakable until about 5 years ago. It was that or so whenever the last of that trilogy came out. And
which I still haven't seen.
And Jill kept saying, have you never seen Unbreakable? Have you never seen Unbreakable? I was like, no. I had seen, was it Split or?
Split, yeah. The one with
Split, is that the name of it?
Yeah, the one that got the guy that's got multiple personalities.
Yeah. Split. I had seen it, but you didn't know really that they were in a trilogy at that point. You didn't know that they were connected. And so when Glass was coming out in 2019, Jill kept saying, you haven't seen Unbreakable. So she showed me Unbreakable, and we watched Unbreakable. We actually watched them in order, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Now,
so that was the first time I'd seen that. So
I know
there are a few that I have only seen with you.
I know Split is pretty widely revered, but from what I understand, Glass was pretty critically scrutinized, correct?
Yeah. Well,
I haven't finished that trilogy. I love Unbreakable. I think it's a really great approach to a superhero universe. It's different. It feels grounded in reality. I think Bruce Willis is awesome in it, and I think it's great that he is essentially invincible, but he has one weakness that is a huge reality of a weakness, which is water, like drowning in water. He can't swim. And that's awesome. And so he's got two powers. He's essentially invincible, and he can sense the intentions of murderous people or people that are going to harm other people. Which is why he's like a security guard at the baseball stadium that he works at, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's also the superhero costume he picks, which is just essentially a rain poncho. That's great. I don't know why that's great, but it's great. And it almost has villain vibes, but it's more like
I was going to say the same thing. Well, because we also we grew up with I Know What You Did Last Summer as a poncho being used for a villain. So, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. Should we talk about the most, I feel like is one of the most divided of his films, and that's The Village.
yes, at least divided between us.
Sure.
People either love The Village or they hate The Village.
Yeah.
I love The Village.
Let's do this. As we're going into it, so there was a movie called Praying with Anger. I've never even heard of it really until looking for this right here. So I've never even seen Praying for Anger. Wide Awake was in 1998. Sixth Sense was in 1999. Unbreakable in 2000. Signs in 2002, and then The Village was 2004. So chronologically, so that we hit this right, that's where we're at. We're in 2004. All right, that's what's going on in the world. And
that's what's going on in the world.
I mean, I had just graduated from high school in 2004. And I'm trying to remember what was actually going on in the world at that time.
Election?
But, yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been an election year.
Bush's second term.
Second term, yeah.
So,
and Sesame Street, I was right when Sesame Street got their like AIDS puppet or something, I believe, around that time.
I forgot about that. So let's talk about the positive things about this movie first. At least what you guys think are positive.
Beautiful. It is a beautiful film, I think.
Some parts of it are beautiful.
I think
Why would you say some parts? Why would you not?
Because the opening shot is awful. It is terrible.
Because Buck is very critical of the cinematography.
It is
storytelling wise.
It's also weak in my opinion. For the most part.
Storytelling?
Yes.
Oh no, absolutely not.
I don't. So the thing that let's just jump into my negatives then. So the thing that doesn't bother me that bothers a lot of people, is spoilers. By the way, is the twist. A lot of people think the twist is stupid. I've seen it all over YouTube videos criticizing the movie. People think that the fact that you go through this movie thinking that it's in some sort of period piece, but mixed with some sort of thriller aspect, monster movie aspect, and you find out that, there's no real monsters. It's a way to keep the people inside the village. And then the main character, who is Joaquin Phoenix the entire time until he gets hurt, it switches to Bryce Dallas Howard. And
they're kind of a duo.
Joaquin Phoenix is more of the focus until he gets stabbed. After we talked about it, I went and rewatched it. It definitely switches main characters halfway through the movie.
I've watched it and I feel like they were a duo. I mean, you follow her.
She's there. She's more like a secondary main character, and then all of a sudden, Joaquin Phoenix is just
they bounce between the two of them.
They bounce between multiples and right. It changes the tone of the movie, in my opinion, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that she goes to get medicine and you find out that, It's present day, and um, and people are like, "Oh, what a cheap twist!" People think it's a cheap twist, and it's not. It's not clever. I don't mind that twist. I think it's interesting. I just think that my criticism about the twist is M. Night Shyamalan's cameo, because it is forced.
Doesn't bother me.
And does not look good. And which is,
well, you only see him in the reflection.
Which is why I think it doesn't look good. It just looks forced, and it's like, oh, there's M. Night Shyamalan just to show M. Night Shyamalan. It seems like we did that. We jumped over hurdles just to make sure that M. Night Shyamalan is in this shot, rather than like him just being a character like in Signs, or in Lady in the Water. It
never bothered me because I didn't know who he was when I saw the movie. And so it was not a big deal.
See, it didn't, when I first saw it, I wasn't as attentive to those things because I saw it a very long time ago, like around the time that it came out on video. Because it was playing on like HBO or something like that, and my family had just gotten satellite. This is back in the days of satellite dish. I remember seeing it, but yeah, a lot of my issues with it are the cinematography aspects of it. I think.
But didn't you watch it at that same thing that I watched it at my church?
I watched it at home.
I'm pretty sure that you were there because we were all in the youth pastor's like little house that he was renting, which was next door to the church, and we all sat there, and that's what we watched.
I don't think I ever was in that house.
I almost can guarantee you that you were there.
I don't remember it
because it was during that. I think it was during that same like weekend that we talked about where he talked about sexual stuff.
I remember being in the fellowship hall.
Yeah. Then weekend. There was like a movie split up time, but it was with not the whole crew. Anyway.
Maybe I started it there and ended it at home. Because I do remember watching it in my room at home. And but yeah, when I went back and rewatched it as an adult, I didn't have much intention of disliking it. I think I only had like one real criticism prior to watching it because I went back and watched it after we all talked about it. And I found that I was like, ugh, I'm not a huge fan of the acting. Or the dialogue. With that opening shot, I was just like, man, this looks like it was shot in the 70s. It looked like it was shot on a lesser quality camera than the rest of the movie. And it was shot on this really the shot was this very old school zoom that they don't do anymore. And maybe he was doing it on purpose, but it is cinematically a different tone from the rest of the movie, and it just doesn't look like it belongs, except for the fact that the actors are all in the shot. It looks like a shot on a lower quality camera. And
you're talking about when they're at the graveyard?
Yes, it is the very first scene. It's the very first scene. It's a huge, long zoom, and it just doesn't look good in comparison to the rest of the movie. And so
I think that's been a little nitpicky because I don't think your average consumer is going to see that.
Yeah, they're not.
I don't know. I don't know if because people do criticize this movie, and people. I mean, people get.
Here's
nitpicky.
My problem with people, because when this came out, I remember I had not seen it. I watched it there, and then when I heard people talking about it, it was always they liked it. It was acclaimed. It wasn't until later that I heard people not liking it and running it down when people started running him down. And it has the same thing to me that with like X-Men or even Star Wars, like the prequels, when our generation, we grew up with them and later we start running crap down that we liked at the time. And sometimes that might be worth it. I mean, the prequels to me, they're canon. They're part of Star Wars. They're canon. They're part of the story. But and there are some issues.
Yeah.
I've been going through all of them. I know that we just talked about this, and you're like, you didn't know midi-chlorians wasn't a part of all of it beforehand when you were growing up. But going back and watching it and watching like Yoda and Obi-Wan explain what the Force is, and then you turn around and it's like, oh, it's midi-chlorians, it's a bacteria. It does kind of go against what has been established. However, there are some issues with it, but I think our generation is two things. We're very nostalgic for things that we grew up with that we love, but also we can turn on things. And we grew up loving the X-Men, and yeah, it has its issues. Are they a great telling of the characters and stuff? No, but are they interesting movies? Sure. So yeah, there are some times that our complaints are worth it. I don't think that this is one of those. I feel like it was just low punches because people started to not like Shyamalan.
I mean, maybe I don't know, because I didn't hear anybody ever talk about The Village. It wasn't one of the movies that people were like, "Oh, M. Night Shyamalan," and here's a huge dialogue about it. Because so this one, The Happening, which from what I remember of The Happening, I didn't mind the story. That one was more of a bad dialogue kind of thing for me.
Bad acting. Yeah,
bad acting. I remember Mark Wahlberg being like, "What's going on?" And the train conductor's like, "Something's going on." He goes, "According to whom?" And it's just like, ugh. It was just
because he's a teacher and he's supposed to sound like a teacher.
That's kind of what I assumed also, but I was like, even teachers don't talk that way. But nobody says whom in America. But so I generally try
Jill,
to
what do you, because this is one of your favorites. So
this is my favorite. The Village is my favorite of Shyamalan's films. And I guess I can see what you're talking about with cinematography. For me, I think that when he is filming, he cares less about the cinematography so much as the pictures that he leaves behind. Kind of like in theater, where we frame a lot of scenes around the image that we are creating. And so for me, I remember that opening scene, but I don't remember it as being low quality. I just remember him crying over his son's casket. That's what I remember. And I remember Bryce Dallas Howard sitting in front of her house with blood on her, and she's just sitting there wrapped in her shawl, and her hair being that red and her green around her. I mean, he just creates these pictures and they stick out to you. And I thought the acting was really phenomenal. You can not like the script, and that's fine. But I mean, the cast it had Bryce Dallas Howard, William Hurt, Adrian Brody, Sigourney Weaver, Joaquin Phoenix. I mean, it really had an all-star cast of actors in it. And there are a lot of stage actors: Brendan Gleeson, Judy Greer, Celia Weston. People that are really good at that kind of acting. It's not movie acting, it's stage acting.
I do want to put the caveat out there. I think that my criticism of the acting is rooted in clunky writing, like not the greatest script. And maybe even not the greatest directing. I know a lot of people. I've heard people talk like, somebody gets bad dialogue in a script, it's their responsibility to make the dialogue good. And I disagree with that. I think it's the director's responsibility to direct his actors well. And I think I agree with you. I think that Shyamalan does sacrifice things for the sake of story. And I would say that's not necessarily a positive thing. And
Well, that's the same thing for George Lucas as well.
correct. However, and I agree. It's not a positive thing, but let me use a more relevant comparison. Let's talk about Zack Snyder. This is the opposite problem. Zack Snyder is amazing at making movies look incredible. And I think that's the reason why people fanboy after like the Snyderverse DC stuff, the Superman, Batman. But as a fan of those characters and comics, like this isn't what these characters are like. This is not the story that should be told about these characters. And it loses the essence of the legacy of those characters. And also there are issues with the story overall. But it looks amazing. But that's part of the reason people criticized the Snyderverse, because he sacrificed story for the sake of amazing cinematography. Because in reality, he's not a great storyteller. He's a great director of photography, so kind of bringing that back to M. Night Shyamalan, if M. Night Shyamalan is not great at cinematography, he should have hired somebody that was.
I think it's just what you choose to be your focus as a director. I mean, I think that's like that in general, whatever you're directing, whether you're directing stage or film, what your focus is going to be. He chooses his focus to be the scene and those actors. That's why he doesn't have a lot of music and a lot of other things. And he chooses very different abstract camera angles to make those really commonplace people the focus of what he's doing. It's a choice that he makes. And I like it, but not everyone does. And that's okay. But it is his style. For me, I'm like, oh, I like this because it's different. It's not just like any other movie that I watch. It's something that...
In defense of that, it's not always the case for every movie he's done. I mean, I just went through.
His movies generally have a pretty signature style.
I'm talking about doing it badly. In a lot of people's opinion, because I mean, I do not get that from Signs. I do not get that from The Sixth Sense or Unbreakable. Even like the scenes of Glass that I've seen is still incredible looking. And I still need to go see that, by the way.
Do you think maybe he was trying to use an older style to try to lean you into this idea that this was a more period?
I mean, I think that's the dialogue issue. I think the dialogue, he wanted to sound period. And so that's why to us it does sound clunky and it doesn't sound like right what we think of
natural.
Are you meaning are you meaning cinematically? Or are you meaning script writer? Are you meaning all the above?
I think maybe both, Jack. But I'm specifically talking about the dialogue in general. I think the dialogue.
I was talking about the cinematography.
See, I wondered that at the beginning
of shots and that. Yeah, but then
I wondered that at the beginning.
Once he's established it changes. It does because he's already established where we are. And I don't think a whole movie that way would have done well. And maybe that was his thinking. And maybe it didn't. And land.
Yeah. And let's keep in mind, this stuff is this is what I do for a living. Like, not making movies, but filmmaking is my job. So like, I'm going to pick that kind of stuff apart. It's just kind of in my nature. And I also say this too, kind of going back to what Jack was saying earlier about like going further in the future and then jumping on, like, hating on somebody that ended up kind of getting thrown under the bus over time or whatever. I think people also potentially, their preferences change over time. Mm-hmm. So like, I think that absolutely happened to me, because I don't think I felt this way when I first saw this movie. But the more I got into the nuts and bolts of filmmaking and that kind of stuff, I think that changed a lot of stuff for me. And but yeah, this one is probably the one I have the most criticisms about. I think the reason I have that, though, is I think it had a tremendous amount of potential that I don't think it met. And it could have been it could have been absolutely amazing and for everybody, rather than just kind of like I don't know if more people dislike it or like it, but
I think most people's criticisms don't have anything to do with the cinematography. They didn't like the story. They don't like the twist. Yeah. That's what most people.
I think that's what I've heard the most too.
Yeah,
like
they don't,
and that's not my gripe about the movie.
Right. Yeah, I thought it was
I will agree
unique and
too with
creative.
Jill. I did too, and I think I'll agree with Jill that he wanted as far as if you're going to talk about the way that they talked, the script writing. I think it was meant to sound older because it wanted you to believe that it was.
I think that had the same problem as Star Wars.
If you've ever seen the new version of True Grit with Haley
Steinfeld,
Matt
Damon, Steinfeld, yeah. Matt Damon, I was like, and Jeff Bridges.
If you've seen that one, they go back to and try to make it very period accurate and not how we portray people talking in that period. Mm-hmm. So not in the way that 60s and 70s portrayed movies that they from that period, but they try to actually do it. And they did a really good job of it. But
it wasn't received well though, right?
It wasn't received as well. I don't think. I mean, some people love it, I think, but you don't ever hear anything about it now. But what I mean is, it's it doesn't land naturally on your ear because that's not how we talk. Mm-hmm. And so I think that could possibly be an issue within the script of that. Trying to find that balance of this is how people actually spoke. They didn't use specifically for True Grit, they didn't use conjunctions the same way that we do. Yeah. And so
I think you could absolutely be right about that. I think that is very possible, a very possible reason why the dialogue feels flat for a lot of us. And but yeah, I do like, my big criticisms are like some of the cinematic choices, I do feel like, because it might even be that the actors didn't exactly hone in well on what he was trying to do either. That's maybe a possibility as well. Though I do think that what's his first name? Gleason. I always want to say it's Brendan. Yeah. I think he did a really good job. I've never been crazy,
and I knew that wasn't right.
I've never been crazy impressed by Jeff Bridges' acting. Sorry to the late Jeff Bridges. In most of the movies that I've seen in my life that he's in, I don't know why this is the only thing that's coming to mind, but the way he acted in AI. You guys remember the movie AI? It's a Spielberg movie.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you much about it, but yeah, I remember.
He's in it for a very. He maybe 5 minutes. He's at the very beginning, and then he's the guy that created that version of robots or whatever. And
Jeff Bridges isn't in this movie though.
I didn't mean Jeff Bridges. I always do this.
Yeah. And it's not Jeff
Bridges. It's not Jeff Bridges. William Hurt. Yep. Okay.
I was like,
I have done that my whole life. Jeff Bridges is a great actor. Sorry, Jeff Bridges. Yeah. William Hurt, but also sorry, William Hurt, because you are dead. And but like I just was never.
Bridges isn't dead.
William Hurt is dead.
Oh, William Hurt is dead. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you said you were like doubling down, being like Jeff Bridges is dead.
No, Jeff Bridges is absolutely alive.
Like 76. He's still alive.
Jeff Bridges is alive. But no, I never saw a movie. I didn't think he was that great as the character he played in the MCU either. He's just a very flat actor. Doesn't really show a whole lot of emotion in most of the stuff I've seen him in. But Brendan Gleeson is great. He's Mad Eye Moody. Of course he's great. He's also he's still alive, right?
Okay. I think
Mad Eye is not alive. Mad Eye is not alive. Oh. No.
Okay.
By the way, for Harry Potter.
Ivy is considered the main character, even though it says the film heavily features Lucius Hunt in the beginning.
Yeah.
Ivy is considered the main character, and I looked in several different places.
I mean, that's fine that it says that, but it feels like it when I went back
it
and
did
watched
not
it,
to me. When I watched it, and we watch it a lot, so I've never felt like it was just him as the main character, but
well, it's kind of like it changes really because it's like the first half of the movie, it's more focused on him, and then it
that's what it feels like to me.
Then you watch her journey at the end.
It feels like it changes main characters. To me,
it's like it,
which is a gripe, for me.
He is heavily featured, but she is as well in the beginning.
She's heavily featured, but I don't think she gets as much screen time as him. And
maybe not, but it doesn't mean that it's not still her story. It just means
I don't know because the end is a pretty good long bit where
I'm talking about before it switches. Before it switches, like it feels. Yeah, like I get I get that it would call her the main character once it switches because it did show her before that. But my gripe is that it feels like it tonally switches the movie. Because the beginning of the movie seems to center around him, even though she is heavily featured, it seems like it's building around him as the main character. And then he gets stabbed. And then, okay, now it's her. It seems like the focus shifts, even though the
idea is that it's about the both of them because they both are having to carry on the legacy of the village. That's the idea.
That's how I think it was.
It's supposed to be about the both of them.
I also... not the biggest, this is just a personal preference. I'm not the biggest fan of the portrayal of Adrian Brody's character. I know we disagree on this. This is really the reason I went back and watched it. I get that people with heavy mental disabilities can be violent, but it just feels like a negative portrayal of that as somebody that's got an uncle.
But he wasn't typically violent.
He terrorizes her. And I know you guys disagree with me, but he absolutely does. He terrorizes her at the end of the movie, and he is not trying to help her at all. He is. Yeah,
he was trying to help her. He was trying to reroute her back in the other direction so that she would go in the right way.
There is nothing that implies that after I went back and rewatched it.
Yes, because I've seen this movie a million times.
What's the thing that he does that implies it?
He hears them talking about her and where she's going and that she is now abandoned. These guys have left her and she's all by herself. And so that's when he takes the suit. He goes after her. He knows the route from there. He knows the truth because he was one of the original ones that came out.
I feel like it's a lot of assumption though. Like
it's not assuming. He was one of the original ones that came from there.
No. That's his motivation for doing it.
He loved her. He wanted to protect her.
He knew that. He also knew the woods. No, he knew the woods because he had been.
He was hurt. He was hurt because he loved her and he wanted to be with her.
But he also hit her earlier in the movie, and so like he had already been violent towards her. She gets married to he smacks her in the face in the movie.
I remember they were playing at one point. She smacks him.
I was gonna say she smacked him too.
And she smacks him back. She does smack him back. Hi, my name's Buck. We here at Down and Down really do believe in holding ourselves accountable when it comes to accuracy. And guess what? Right here, I was wrong. Noah never hits Ivy in the movie. Ivy hits Noah after Noah stabs Lucian. And that's a big deal. So, wanted to clear that up. We never want to make claims that are not true. So there you have it. Now let's get back to it.
I don't know. I never got that
he takes the suit and he goes after her to protect her. They even say in the end that he was trying to help her get back to the right way. I did not
hear that line.
Yeah, because they're like, if he hadn't have died, then the story would not continue on. He helped protect the story of what was going on and routed her back in the right. She was going in the wrong direction. He saw it and he made her go the opposite direction of where she was.
I did not see anything that implied that whenever I went back and watched it.
Well, watch it about 25 more times like I have and maybe you'll catch it.
I mean, I went into it trying to see if he did that. And you don't even end up finding out that he was the one that was there, like doing that until after he's already fallen into the pit.
They say the suit is gone in the room that he was in. They're like, oh no, he's gone. And one of the suits is missing. They say that before he even appears there at the end.
I'm gonna have to go watch it again. but
You do that.
I did not hear anything in it because I went into it.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about The Lady in the Water, because that one is
that's the next
really good one. That's the next one. Then honestly,
That's
we could
the
skip
next
the
one.
next three because there's
There's some bad writing in it as well.
The Lady in the Water.
Mm-hmm.
How?
Particularly centered around M. Night Shyamalan's character. The whole.
I think you just don't like M. Night Shyamalan in his movies as an actor.
I don't have
showing up.
Again, I thought he was great in Signs. But the whole okay, so what's the twist in this movie? What is the twist considered to be in this movie?
I don't think this one really has so much. Well, I guess the biggest twist is that he is the one that is the healer, and he ends up being the one that saves her. The whole time he's looking for all these different people that are these different characters.
Paul
and then Paul
Giamatti,
Giamatti's character ends up being the one that's the healer because he was a doctor. Yeah.
So, side note, two of our foster daughters are actually Latinas. They always say my name, and with it, they have this accent. And so the way, and I always joke with them about sounding like the Asian girl in this movie because the way she says, Miss Ahi, Miss Ahi. So a lot of times whenever they say my name, we'll say, Miss Jack. I will say, Miss Ahi, because it kind of has the same, it sounds very similar to that.
I do want to say this just real quick, just a quick Google thing about The Village. If you type in the film The Village, the character Noah supposed to be helping Ivy when he dresses up as a monster. It says no, Noah is not trying to help Ivy. He's driven by his unrequited love. It is AI, but we do use the AI as a soft source of information for this podcast. So take it with a grain of salt. But when you look it up, it does. I know
that's why I'm looking into actual Screen Rant stuff because I saw that, but I've also looked up other stuff and been like, that's incorrect, and I know it's incorrect. So that's why I'm going into
that is true. That is true. But anyway, so my criticism of the M. Night Shyamalan character in Lady in the Water is really just one part. It's not his role. It's the revelation about his character, the future of his character. I do think calling the book that he writes the cookbook is a little silly sounding. But that's small. I think the biggest thing is
real life.
He prompts the question to find out about his future very unrealistically, in my opinion. I remember thinking this when I saw the movie for the first time, because he's like, because Bryce Dallas Howard's character is like, you're going to write the cookbook and it's going to change the world because this leader is going to read it and he's going to be hugely impacted by the book, and he's going to impact the world a lot. And then you fast forward 15, 20 minutes into the movie, maybe I don't know the accuracy of that, but it's a little forward into the movie, and he comes to her and he's like, if this guy is so important and impacted by what I wrote, why didn't he meet me? Why did he not try to meet me? And it just doesn't, it seems like he came to a conclusion based on a lack of information that was not presented in a way that implied that he was not going to be alive in the future. So it just felt, again, clunky to me.
He asked at one point and she had given him the clue that he was going to die.
He directly asks her. He asks her what.
He says that the type of things that I've written in this book are
they are controversial. This is the same conversation.
Yeah.
It's the same conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like he came to the conclusion without really being prompted to get there, if that makes sense. Because she just says, this leader is really heavily impacted by what you write. And that's all. like she's talking about the goodness of this leader in the future, and then he like somehow gets to the "Am I gonna die?" place somehow.
Because
Somehow,
of his
Emperor,
writing
Emperor Palpatine came back to
because
life.
of what he's written.
It doesn't ever seem unnatural to me, and I am usually very susceptible to things that I think do not fall naturally in a conversation like that. But it didn't feel that way to me ever, because a lot of times I'm like, "Oh, okay, you just assuming," but I didn't ever feel that way with this conversation, and I think a lot of it because he was trying to feed off of her body cues and things like that. And he was asking these very direct questions.
And maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe Shyamalan makes assumptions that you're going to take for granted these people are trying to do
enough to understand his movies.
Well, yeah,
right.
I mean, if that were the case, then a lot more people would like his movies. But
or
because most people aren't very smart, and that's the truth.
Well, it's the director's responsibility to make sure that it communicates well.
The more intelligent personalities tend to be the lesser. Like you find fewer. Tend to be fewer numbers of the more intelligent personality types.
Oh yeah. So that correlates exactly to M. Night Shyamalan fans.
It correlates to what we were talking about, being intelligent and understanding what he was written.
Or you just didn't communicate well.
Or if that was the case, if that was the case, then I understood it fine. So so maybe it's not just that because I understood it all fine.
Oh, we all understood the movie.
So you understood it, okay? So it's not. No, related.
It was just clunky.
Got it. So I was right. Got it.
Okay, that's an interesting place to get to from that conversation. So it was clunky, and whenever you have to make assumptions in a movie, it's never a good decision. Like as a viewer, if you're having to make an assumption to get to a place logically, that's not the best.
I don't think anybody had to make an assumption. I think he just asked questions. I don't think he was necessarily.
You said he was paying attention to her body language and that kind of stuff.
And he asked a question. It didn't mean he assumed that he was going to be dead. He was asking a question.
Right.
I think it was a logical question.
I'm saying
I'm not going to meet this man. Why would he not meet me? Am I going to be dead? Am I not going to make it? Oh,
okay, that's fine. I'm talking about something you said where you're like, he's paying attention to her body language and stuff, and you don't know that. That's an assumption. It doesn't talk about that.
She's giving him physical signals. That's the whole part of the scene.
What physical signals?
And you can look at her face as she's giving him, she's tugging her ears and all that, and he's looking into her face. It's part of the scene.
Oh yeah, she does do that.
She does do that?
She does that throughout the movie.
Like yes and no. It's like means yes and no because she can't tell.
Yeah, because she's not allowed to say certain things. So she
does he know that though?
Yes, they have a whole scene about it.
They are the ones that set that up.
Okay. So she does that in the scene where she's telling him.
And he's tugging
about the future.
Ear. She's tugging the ears and touching her nose and all these things.
Keep in mind, I haven't seen this movie in like 20 years. Almost.
That's why he comes to those, because she's telling him without telling him. She can't tell him. So they have signals because.
His sister set it all up.
Was it his sister who was like, when we were kids, we didn't want to tell each other. We didn't want to tell each other.
I do vaguely remember this part of the movie.
And we would touch something, and that let us know. And
right.
So
is there whenever she's telling him about the leader in the future, what does she do? What is the cue that makes her be like, I don't want to say something that leads him to the idea of, oh, I'm going to be dead?
I don't remember exactly which one it was because each time she touches a different part of her body, and that means something. Pulls her hair, touches her nose, pulls her ear, an elbow, but he's asking she something different, and just by touching something, it means like yes or something like that.
Her mannerisms are very important in the movie.
Hey there, it's me again. So accuracy. We got another little flub this time from Jack and Jill. So the whole hand signals thing, 100% in the movie. There's a whole scene where the Narf isn't wanting to tell things because she's forbidden to tell them. So the sister says, hey, whenever I was a little girl, I would make up hand signals so I could tell my mom things, but also not feel like I'm telling all my friends. That 100% happens. Now, when it comes to this argument, there's two scenes about the writer and his future. One of those scenes happens before the hand signals were implemented. The second one happens after, but there is no hand signal communication between the writer and the Narf. And it's a scene that only has the two of them in it. So there's no weird communication going on between them. He's not getting information she's not supposed to tell. Now, does this mean there's a winner to the debate? It's still unclear. You go watch it for yourself, find out what you think about that part of the movie, and you decide. So let's get back to it. I do remember that part of the movie. I just don't remember anything that prompted her to be like, oh, you're going to be dead whenever she's talking about that leader being influenced by him.
I think he was asking about why did, if it's so important, why would he not meet me? Am I not going to be alive, or am I going to be dead? Something like point, am I going to be killed? Point.
Does she say that they never meet whenever she talks about it first before he asks her why he didn't meet her?
She doesn't say a whole lot of anything. He's trying to draw
stuff out of her because she's not really supposed to share a whole lot.
Mm-hmm. You can't tell. It's part of her whole thing. She can't really tell him a whole lot.
I just remember feeling that wasn't led into well. Like there wasn't really a setup for it. It just, he came to her, was like, why did he not meet me? I don't remember there being anything that prompted him to ask that question in the initial conversation.
I will give you your Shyamalan, your Village issues with like videography, because I'm not a videographer, and I can, and when I went back and watched, I was like, I can see what he means by this. It doesn't bother me. And maybe it was on purpose. This one, I don't think is grounded.
Well, you've seen it since I've seen it a lot. So I will give that to you. Maybe I missed something in the initial thing, but I do remember
one scene out of a really good story.
And again, this is my one gripe about the movie.
Yeah. The movie as a whole is really good.
I like the movie. This isn't
Paul
like
Giamatti is excellent in this movie. His character is really good.
I don't feel like the acting is bad.
How awesome could it have been if this one was tied in with Glass and all of them, and he's afraid of drowning, and she's actually the lady in the water, and
that's funny.
And you also still have like those creatures that end up being real.
Oh yeah,
from the stories.
So he wrote this movie for his kids as like a bedtime story for his kids. He used to tell it to them. It does seem more like
it kind of sets up that way.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of part of it.
Yeah.
I need to go back and rewatch it just to get details that I didn't get back then that I potentially would have missed. Now that I pay attention a little bit better. But let's move on from this one, because we've been on this one for a while. Arguing about that one part.
After the lady in the water was the happening, and we've already mentioned, I don't think this is anybody's.
No, I've seen this one time.
It was disappointing.
Yeah. I think it was an extremely interesting concept. And it was his first R-rated movie. Right? Because I remember the commercial showing that person's lay down in front of the lawnmower about to go over them.
Yes.
That's the concept.
And where people jump off the buildings. Oh
yeah. Yep. The concept of nature creating a defense mechanism because it views humanity as a threat is a really interesting concept. And especially at a time when they started talking about like climate change and all that kind of stuff. No matter where you stand on the issue, it was just a part of the world's conversation at the time.
It just felt very political and not his usual. He's usually not about the politics, but this one felt very political and not about the story. The story felt weak to me.
It was definitely not a great story.
I was sad.
I just think the concept is interesting. Yeah. Like that's kind of my only real like pro about it. It's just an interesting concept.
Yeah.
I've watched it. I've seen it maybe 2 or 3 times, and I don't really have a hankering to see it again. And this is my theory about it. I think that So you got The Happening in 2008, you got The Last Airbender in 2010, which really did damage to his name because you
it
had
was
these
so bad.
Last Airbender. It was, and you had what happened was with that was you had people who were huge fans. If we had if we had not grown up with the cartoon and expected the animated version, like the live action version of this animation that we love, and it had just been his story, it might not would have been as bad. Some of the stuff would have been. I mean,
let me
touch that
also
stair,
add
that lines.
Oh god. Let me also add that I had not seen The Last Airbender at this point. I saw this movie before I saw The Last Airbender.
Really?
Yeah. But yeah.
I may have too, actually.
I'm pretty sure that I dragged you to the theaters to see The Happening, The Last Airbender, and After Earth. All three of those.
Oh crap! He did After Earth.
And those three,
I don't.
Were his weakest.
I think the three of those.
Those were his
three of those damaged his reputation so bad that that's why people started going back to things like The Village and picking it apart, because I never really heard negative things about them, and Signs. People started picking Signs apart, and I mean not Signs, Sixth Sense, and I never heard a whole lot of negative things about them until this time period. And once this time period hit, I think, and he kind of put out these bad movies. They hurt him, and people started going back and picking the other stuff apart that before they liked. And that's what my issue with The Village is, because I don't think that that's necessarily fair.
Now, and maybe that is true. I don't feel that way about my criticisms about M. Night Shyamalan, because my natural inclination when I see movies is to root for them. Like, I want them to succeed. I don't want to go into a movie thinking it's going to be bad. Like, I don't want it to be bad. And a lot of times I have to give myself a few days to realize this was actually not good. So a good example is when I first watched the last half of Stranger Things season 5, I enjoyed it. But the more I thought about it, the more I was like, there were so many issues with it. And I did the same thing. I did the same thing with The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. Like, the more I sit on it and I think about it, I'm like, this is just not good. So I need time to process things. When it comes to my critiques of movies, but I do think people jump on bandwagons.
But you can see how I think that's what happened collectively. I'm not saying you. I mean collectively. I think that's what happened here.
Yeah, and I think in those three movies, he was trying to branch out and try something different. But then in The Visit in 2015, he kind of returned back to more of his storytelling roots, and The Visit was really good. I have
not seen The Visit. What is it? So tell me about The Visit.
All right. Spoilers.
The Visit is unique in his movies, and that it's a found footage film. So it kind of plays off of that style, like Blair Witch Project kind of style movie. But what's different about it is that it's these two kids that are gone to stay with their grandparents. And it's kind of like their long lost grandparents that they've never met.
I know what this movie is. Yeah. I remember. I didn't realize he did this movie.
Yes, he did. And it's this whole time, it's like something's not right with these grandparents. They're kind of creepy. And then there's a big twist in the end that it's not actually their grandparents.
You want to say, spoiler alert, do you want to say what the twist is?
Yeah, it's not their grandparents. They killed their grandparents.
Yeah, they're serial killers,
volunteers at the old people home that they were at.
Yeah. So
and they tried to kill them too.
It's different. Oh, and I gagged in this movie because of the diaper scene where he kept wiping doo-doo diapers on that boy. And I actually gagged.
Doo-doo diapers.
And it's funny too. Like, this movie it's got really like intense parts, but then it's also got really funny parts too, because the kids are funny.
Yeah. The whole saying pop stars or like starlets' names as cuss words is hilarious.
Like, what, the Carrie Underwood?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I think it's very well done. I think that this is what works for him is because is a, even though I think you're right in a way that it does take us back to his twists and his storytelling. It's done differently than his. It's very modern,
Right.
and it's not like a fairy tale. It's not like something very fantasy. It's a little more grounded. And I think because it's so different, it feels like something somebody else would have put out, and it's very now. It worked for him, and I think that is why it did so well.
Yeah.
Because it was a kind of a divorce from a lot of his other work. What do you think?
Yeah. The Visit is one of my favorites. I really like the movie, and
we've watched it a whole lot less than the others.
We have watched it a lot less, but I've always have really liked it. I think it's a good story, and like I said, it has moments that are scary and moments that are really funny, and it just kind of takes you all over the place.
But it's
and
a lot more recent,
horrifying.
right? It's a lot more recent, right?
Yeah, it was 2015.
So it's 10 years old, 11 years old.
Yeah, which is hard to believe at this point.
Yeah.
And after that, he kind of started going back uphill. Then he brought out Split in 2016, and that was really good.
It was good.
Yeah,
that one,
I like Split.
that would mess with your mind too.
Oh, yeah, it did.
You saw Split, but
I haven't finished all of it. I have watched pieces of it, which is stupid because it's the stuff in the M. Night Shyamalan canon that is like my favorite stuff.
Yeah.
I just haven't gotten around to it. But see, I got a feeling that I've seen a lot of Split, but I haven't seen enough to put it all together. I know essentially like the gist of it, but I've seen a lot of
James
scenes.
McAvoy does a very good job.
He's really good.
I've seen a lot of scenes of Glass too, and I know people hate on Glass, but from what I've seen, Glass looks great.
Glass was really good,
but I know people hated on it. So, what's after Split? Is that old? Old isn't lasting.
Was Glass. After that was Glass. That was the conclusion of that trilogy.
Let me tell.
So old is post Glass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me say this. Also, so Split was 2016. Also in 2016, it was announced, and it was supposed to be that Shyamalan was supposed to reboot the Tales from the Crypt. They had already put it out. They had started announcing it. They had already put commercials and trailers and stuff, and then it just fell. There's this weird. And it was not going to have the Crypt Keeper, and that's part of the reason. So there's this weird thing with Tales from the Crypt of who owns what and who owns the rights. And is it Fox? Is it, I guess the ones who originally made the
showrunners?
Like maybe the showrunners, or who made the comic books originally? Because that was originally a comic book, and
that's weird that's confusing for because most of the time that's all pretty clear.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know all the legalities of who owns what, but that became part of the issue. And I knew they weren't going to be able to use the Crypt Keeper like as we knew him. And so that was also, I was a little down about that. But I think
you would have done a good job at that.
I think you would have too. And I was really looking forward to it. And then that fell by. And then I think, is it Keegan Peele?
Jordan,
is he the one? I think
Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele. Sorry, Jordan Peele. Thank you. It's Keegan and Peele, isn't it? Jordan Peele was supposed to take it over, and I don't know whatever happened. If he did, I don't know.
I mean, that would also be probably pretty great because
that was a lot later. Really I think that was a few years later. But I was really disappointed when Shyamalan didn't get a chance to do that. I did think it was going to be a little darker than anything he's ever done before at that point. But anyway, that was a side note. But because we're talking about Shyamalan,
was there anything between Split and Glass?
Not on this list.
No, there's only 3 years.
Yeah.
So 3 years between. So Glass goes straight into Old.
Old was in 2021,
which apparently did really, really bad, right?
It was okay. It was not one of his best ones.
I haven't seen that one. Favorites. And then
I don't remember everything about it. They're on this beach, and if you couldn't get out of the sun, or you couldn't get out of the shade.
It's like if you went to a certain, it's like, I don't know, you went to a certain part of this island beach and you started turning old. At least is what the trailer.
Aging. It was very.
You aged really fast.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what it was. I remember them trying to like move quickly to get out of something or to get away. I don't know. It was weird. It was weird.
Is it just the concept was what made it bad, or was it the writing? Was it the acting? What is it? The direction?
I've seen it one time.
Yeah, it just wasn't memorable. And I think the same for Knock at the Cabin. It was not particularly memorable either.
I don't even know this one.
In fact, I said we watched this when you were like, we haven't watched this. I was like, no, we watched.
Yes. And then I went and watched the trailer, and I was like, oh yeah, we did watch that. I've seen all of his movies except for the first two, The Praying with Anger and Wide Awake. And
I've seen Wide Awake.
I have not seen those
Wide Awake.
Two. Yeah, I don't think I've seen Wide Awake, but Knock at the Cabin and Old were okay. They were just like, an okay horror film. It wasn't anything to write home about, really. But I did really like Trap. I thought Trap was pretty good.
You did?
I thought it was pretty good.
Oh, I thought it was bad. I think it might be one of his worst things.
I don't think it was that
Knock
bad.
at the Cabin had Rupert Grant in it.
Oh, that's
Really?
right. It did.
And Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
Is Dave Bautista the villain?
And Jonathan Groff.
It was a really weird concept.
I think he was one of the main characters.
Okay.
Was he one of the gay guys? It's about these two gay guys, and they
Dave
have
Bautista? That would be weird.
No. Jonathan Groff.
Jonathan Groff. Yeah, well, he's gay in real life.
Yeah, him and Ben Aldridge, I think, were the boyfriend, husbands.
The husband.
But Bautista, was he the dad?
I think so.
They had the little girl. I think Rupert Grant was one of the villains, if I remember correctly.
That's interesting. Run! No!
There was like three villains.
They're villains, but they're also not villains because they're trying to save the world, but at the expense of this family. So
I need to go watch these movies that I haven't
Old
seen.
and Knock at the Cabin feel like fever dreams. Like he had a really weird dream and he turned them into movies.
Maybe he started doing
make that show with Rupert Grant in it too that we were watching.
Servant. He
Now Servant did good, didn't it?
Servant's pretty good. Jack did not like Servant as much. It is kind of a little weird because the baby doll turns into a real baby. But I thought it was pretty good. I would like to finish watching it. We watched like the first 8 episodes or something.
It moves kind of slow,
it
is very psychological. But I usually like psychological stuff. It's just very freaking weird. And here's the thing: we've started it twice and not finished it. So.
You also don't like it whenever things are slow burns, generally, though, because usually, like a lot of times, I notice whenever you like a thing. Slow does a lot, but a lot of times it is not always. I'm not saying it's always true, but a lot of times whenever you don't like a movie, you'll say it's slow. And
if it is slow and it's not good,
but slow doesn't necessarily mean bad. Slow doesn't necessarily mean bad.
Take for instance, I actually like the old Rosemary's Baby. It's a very slow movie.
We watched that together.
I enjoy. I had another one in my brain that's typically slow. Salem's Lot. It's very slow, the original one, but I think some of the payoff is good. But that's part of it. If I'm like it's slow, sometimes it can be boring in spots, but the payoff, if the payoff is good, then it's good. If it's not, then, and that's kind of how I feel with some of the ones. When I'm like it's slow, the payoff isn't good for it to be slow.
Sure. Well, but you didn't make it to the payoff points though, potentially, did you?
I watched several episodes.
We didn't finish the first season.
And
I haven't seen this, so I don't know.
Well, when we first, we started this twice. The first time we started it, I think there was only one season. And we came back years later. And I don't remember. I guess we didn't finish the first season the first time either because it was just it felt like jumping rope to try to be interested in something that just wasn't. It didn't have enough to keep me going. I don't know.
But Jill, you didn't feel that way.
I liked it. I like Rupert's character. I thought he had a good character in that show.
And he was a good character.
I like the husband. The mom is psycho. She's a little crazy.
I didn't like her.
Like you said, we didn't really get to like the payoff, I feel like. So I don't feel like I can really judge that until I finish at least the first season.
Okay.
And then you have like the maid, and you don't know if you like the maid or not.
Now, Rupert Grint's not the main character, right? It's another guy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I can't ever remember his name. He played
the wife's brother.
He played Doctor Doom in that that'd be the first remake of Fantastic Four, right? That guy.
I don't remember who I was in. To be honest with you, I remember Rupert Grint.
I will say that I think it was a show that could have been a movie. I think it got stretched into a show, but I think it could have been shortened into a movie.
I think had it been a movie, I might would have liked it more.
It would have been really good, I think, as a movie.
So you think it was just drawn out too long?
I think so.
It is stretched out, and that made it. That's what makes it slow. I think is because we're waiting for a payoff that never really comes.
Yeah, it just takes too long to get to the exciting. But they've made like 3 seasons out of it, so somebody liked it because they've been doing it for,
I wanted to watch it because it looked really good from trailers and clips and stuff. Well, let's get to the last one then, because we've all seen the last one, and apparently Jill thought it was good.
I said it was not one of the best, but I didn't think it was that bad.
Well, you said you liked it.
I liked it. I thought it was decent.
It was okay. I felt like it was. I felt like the whole point of the movie was so we could watch his daughter sing.
Yeah, and that was 100%. And she was so bad. She was so bad.
I didn't think she was that bad.
She didn't sound like any other pop singer.
Oh, I thought you meant her singing.
No, not the singing.
Her acting
it's
was
just the character. Great. The character and her, like it. Yeah, because his daughter really is trying to get into pop singing, right?
Yeah,
it was an advertisement.
The songs were pretty good. I thought the music was okay. I could agree with her acting. She's not.
I didn't mind his self-insert in this movie because it felt more natural. It felt like, oh, he's a security or something like that. And it he actually plays a pretty large role. He was
in The Village too.
Well, he was like a park ranger in The Village. Yeah, well, I get what you're saying.
A security guard for the woods.
It's a security guard for wildlife protection. But yeah, it felt more natural to me. But guys, Josh Hartnett did awful in this movie, and I've never really seen him do bad. Like,
I like Josh Hartnett. He looked so old too, which
he's probably in his 50s now.
Well, it's not even. I don't even. Well, a lot of other actors are in their 50s and they don't necessarily look old, but
he kind of always had a bit of a baby face too.
Yeah, he's aged a lot since we've seen him in anything major because he doesn't do a whole lot anymore. I don't know that it was awful. It was just very maybe flat or downplayed a lot of it.
I don't know that it was that flat was the problem. It was all over the place. Like whenever he would try to put on like a really over the top, like nice guy performance, quote unquote.
Yeah.
It was painfully like obvious that it wasn't real. And it's just like, how are the people believing in this performance? And this guy's playing a psychopath psychopaths are generally really good at that kind of thing. Like they practice that kind of stuff. And so like it just and the twists didn't feel rewarding to me.
I don't think the story was bad. Like
the concept.
The concept. I was so excited about this concept. I was like, this is different. This is like one of the most different things he's done. The protagonist is the serial killer. And it was, and it's like this whole thing is they're using this concert as a setup to catch him. That is unique. I was so excited. I was so excited for this movie. And I was like, I watched it. I was like, this is so bad. This is so bad.
I remember we both talked about it afterwards and we were like, this was not good. This was not great. I don't think it was, I enjoyed it for what it was, but it was not what I expected, what I was wanting from it. I mean, I think, and maybe I don't know if I fall in between the two of your opinions, or maybe if I'm saying kind of the same thing that both of you are saying, but differently. It was not a great movie. It wasn't necessarily the worst of his movies either, but it was just there and it had a whole lot of issues. And it did feel very forced to just, I'm going to tell this, what could have been a really, really good film, really, really good story, but instead we're going to insert half the film with my daughter singing.
Yeah.
That I think if they had actually put like a real actress in that role, I think it could have changed the whole dynamic of the film.
Well, I will say there's a part of the story that feels like he was trying to make it to where, like, he had decided my daughter's going to play this part in this movie and she's going to be the hero. That's what it felt like.
I can definitely agree with that.
I'm going to give you your own movie.
Yeah, right.
She wasn't the main character of the movie, but he's like, but you're the superhero of this movie, and everybody's going to love you. And it's just kind of like,
yeah. It was for me. It was like it was pretty good. 2/3 of the way through, and the last third, it was kind of like, that's.
I think I can agree that it's not the worst movie. I will say that it is the biggest letdown for me.
It was a big letdown. I can
see that.
Yeah, it was a big letdown.
I mean, from what I've seen, The Last Airbender is the worst of the movies that I've seen.
With After Earth overall, and Happening being
After Earth is bad too. After Earth is really bad too. But this one, I was like, this is going to be a really unique thing, and maybe it even starts like a whole like new approach to films where you're telling the story from the villain's perspective and see the villain's downfall more often, because that's usually an outlier in storytelling. I mean, we kind of got that with the Joker, but we didn't really get a downfall with Joker. I didn't watch Joker, whatever
the second one.
But it's something in French.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna call it Joker 2.
Joker 2. And I mean, I'm critical of Joker also just as a comic book fan, but if I look at it alone as a film, it's great.
As its own thing.
Yeah. So, and there are other movies like that, but this one kind of took it a little bit further than those other movies in a lot of ways. Cause like when you like, oh, the protagonist is a serial killer, that's different. It just felt like a bit of a breath of fresh air. And that sounds so weird to say about like, oh, this movie where the serial killer's the main character, breath of fresh air.
I think I agree with you because, I don't know. It's one of those things like, will I root for him or will I want him to be caught?
Yeah.
Am I going to be, waiting to see if he's going to get caught? He's going to get caught, or, sitting on the edge of your seat, and I think there are moments within that film that I do feel that way. And I would kind of agree with you. In the first
absolutely.
2/3 of it, I feel that way. But then, when we go to the girls, they go to their house and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm at the bottom of my popcorn bowl. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, the pop star was a much bigger role than what she needed to be.
Yeah, I do think it's a movie you can still get invested in while you're watching it.
Yeah,
and I think that's definitely a positive thing about it. But
I would say that's true for all of the last ones that we've just talked about, like Trap, Knock at the Cabin, Old. While they're not the best, you can get invested in them.
Yeah,
they're not the worst. You can get invested in them. They're an okay story, and then you might forget that you ever saw them, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I was going to ask a question. I forgot what it was.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, also, since we're at this moment,
what was the remind me exactly what the twist was in this movie? It had something to do with his wife. His wife was the one that was it that his wife was the one that gave the police
something. She set the whole thing up.
She set the whole. She's the one that set up told the FBI that he was going to be there.
That he was going to be there at that concert
and got the tickets or something for her daughter or something.
And it just felt like maybe one of the worst, like the least rewarding twists that he's ever made. Oh, that's a real big twist. The wife did it. I don't know. Like it felt like, hey, this could have been like this era's American Psycho. You guys ever watch American Psycho?
I know what you're talking about. I don't know that I've ever seen it, and I don't know why I've never seen it. As somebody who loves horror movies,
it's not really a horror movie in the same way as like it's more because
it's listed a lot of times though with them because
because he's a serial killer and like so. It's a Christian Bale movie.
With a chainsaw, right? All I know is Christian Bale runs around naked with a chainsaw.
At one point, he does run around with a chainsaw. But he also kills somebody with an axe. There's a lot of different...
That's all I know about it. That's literally all I know.
He's supposed to be like a literal psycho. He works on Wall Street and that kind of stuff. It's got an ending you wouldn't expect. But people love that movie.
To our Halloween list, Jill.
People love that movie. It's generally heralded as a really good movie.
That people do. I couldn't tell you because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't put it on my favorites by any means, but I can see why people appreciate it because it's different. But
it didn't look like it would be one I would put on my favorites, but from the things that I have seen, but I know that people do love it. That's all I can say.
I'll also say this too. Christian Bale's the main character, and I'm touch and go with Christian Bale personally.
Yeah.
Although I know a lot of people are like he's one of the greatest actors of our time, and I'm like, sometimes
he's Batman.
Sometimes he is.
That's overstating it a little bit.
But I've seen several movies that I'm like, meh, whatever.
So about Shyamalan, that's what we're talking about. He has a new project coming out in 2027.
Trap Again.
February. No. This is an interesting project.
Oliver's a singer.
No.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
This is an interesting project because he actually teamed up with Nicholas Sparks to write a book. And they wrote this book, and I've read the book. And then now he's producing or writing or directing all of the above, the movie, which will come out in February. So the book came out this past, I'll have to go back and check. I can't remember exactly. Maybe it came out last October. But this movie comes out next February.
Is it a love story?
It is a love story / ghost story.
Okay.
So it's called
sense.
Remain. It's called
Ooh, I don't like that in that context.
It was good. The book was pretty good. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I like Nicholas Sparks pretty well. Like I like his books and I like his movies, and then of course I like Shyamalan. But what they categorize it as is a supernatural love story, because basically, to make a long story short and not to give away too many spoilers, this guy moves into this house and he falls in love with this girl, and she ends up being a ghost.
But she's really in a coma, and she used to live in the apartment. And you know what movie I'm talking about?
I know you are, but I can't think of what it is.
It's a Reese Witherspoon movie, Mark Ruffalo movie, chick flick.
Oh, yeah. But the book was pretty good. I don't know what the film will be like. The film is going to have Jake Gyllenhaal and Phoebe Dynevor in it.
Who's Phoebe Dynevor?
When did you say it comes out?
February.
Oh, that's not too awful long.
Valentine's Day. But the book, like I said, the book was pretty good. It's not. You're not going to watch this one and be like, "Oh my gosh, this is the greatest twist of all time." It's not going to be like that.
Phoebe
But it is a
Danabour is
good
from
story.
Bridgerton.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
God, that is a very large age difference
Yeah.
Yeah.
between characters. I know Jake Gyllenhaal looks young for his age, but goodness gracious, she's
Well,
31.
she's a
He's
girl,
40.
so
But the actresses.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's common practice in Hollywood.
And he is in the movie. He plays one of the main characters. Shyamalan does.
Oh, okay.
And he actually really
I don't
fits
think Shyamalan
it.
is a bad actor
No.
for the most part.
And he really would fit, like when I'm thinking about the character in the book and I'm thinking about him playing it, he fits the character well.
Yeah.
The description of the character and everything.
What'd you say?
What'd you
Jack?
say?
Maybe they wrote it for him. Maybe they wrote it for him because he
Maybe.
does like to insert himself in things. So,
But I did hear
Maybe
like
that
an
was the-
interview with Sparks, and he talked about how much he enjoyed writing the book with Shyamalan. He enjoyed doing the project. They've apparently been talking about doing a project together for a while, which that feels so random, but they eventually settled on this project.
I'd imagine Sparks penned the book and they just developed the story together. Is that
Something like
possible?
that, yeah.
Yeah.
probably
Sounds
kept him in the loop along the way with like as they
Yeah.
wrote.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it came out October 2025 was when this book came out. And I think I read it like right when it came out. Because I remember thinking it was something that you don't see every day.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Those two together. But anyways, I'm
Was there-
excited.
Is there anything else we want to say about Shyamalan and his works? And
I'll still be a fan.
Shyamalan a ding
Forever.
dong.
Forever and amen. I'll be a
Shyamalan,
fan.
Shyamalan a
Even
ding
through the
Shyamalan a
rough
ding dong.
stuff.
Even
Which,
through his
sadly-
bad films, I'll still sit through and adore them.
Which sadly at this point he has put more bad films out than good ones.
Here's the. I want to. This reminds me. I want to say this earlier. I think it's crappy to forget the good stuff that a director does just because there has been bad
Yes.
stuff,
Yes.
and because everybody has bad stuff.
Yeah.
Spielberg has bad stuff.
Yeah.
George Lucas, clearly the prequel series is not as well directed as the original series. Like it's not cool to do that. I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan. I don't think Tenet was an amazing movie. Do I think that means that Christopher Nolan lost his touch? No. I think he just that one missed the mark, and sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's just don't let something be ruined just because the director does a more subpar job in your opinion, and maybe that is the more widely accepted opinion, but don't just hate on something just because it like this thing was hated on. And
Yeah.
so I think it's undeniable that The Sixth Sense was an amazing movie. I think Signs was an amazing movie. Everybody loved Signs when it came out. Split, an amazing movie. Unbreakable, an amazing movie. Clearly, The Visit was an amazing movie.
The Village was an amazing movie.
The Visit was an amazing movie. And
You haven't even seen The Visit.
I know, but I'm trusting you guys on this one. But maybe I shouldn't. But no, I've heard other people. I've heard other people talk about The Visit.
Yeah.
I actually watched a video about that being one of the most underrated horror movies of that time. And
good.
so yeah.
But I think a good director, I think what I like about him is he's not afraid to make mistakes. You know, he has an idea. He does it. Everybody might not like it, but hey, he did the thing that he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He told his story, which
He told his
again,
story.
George Lucas, right? That's his
Yeah.
whole thing. He just wants to tell his story,
He just wants to tell
So-
stories.
whether people like it or not. Also for our listeners, if you've listened this far, a lot of the times what y'all get is Buck and I being very, trying to be very nice on here with each other because we know this is content. This one's a little more real. We're not mad at each other. We talk.
Oh.
We will
Crap, I forgot. I forgot we did a thing.
When we go back and forth like that, that is us. That is how we talk in real life with each other. And we've told y'all we're more brothers than anything else. And we will debate each other, and we will run each other down, and we will not really run each other down, but we'll debate each other, and we'll try to one up each other and say the last thing. Both of us have the last. Have the last. Thing.
We try our best to get the last word into any of our debates.
We're not mad at each other. This is just our relationship. Y'all got to peek into what's more real than what probably you've ever seen on here before.
That was tame in comparison to like some other podcasts.
Absolutely.
Have you ever seen the Escape Pod? They insult each other and they'll yell at each other.
Listen, maybe this will get us.
We got to start doing that apparently because it's working for them. But yeah, that was. I mean, honestly, that was nothing. Like
it was. And part of it was tamer because we knew that we were being recorded.
We had something like that a while back.
Yeah, we did.
I can't remember what it was about. Do you remember what it was about?
But I felt like it was a little.
I do remember what it was about. It was about whether or not foxes were ENTPs. Oh, I thought we yelled at each other. What a stupid conversation to yell at each other about. Oh man.
Oh yeah, that wasn't on recording. But there was one.
No, I just meant like personally.
There was one recording where we slightly got maybe like this, but not like this. Anyway. I think that was the about demons and stuff or something. Maybe that was that one. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah.
And if you can actually, because we came back later and discussed it again. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Shyamalan. I think we've run to the end of this rabbit hole.
Not possible. We could go on and on.
Possible.
Well, we've gone through all of his works without. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't actually have that many really, and we've talked about what's good and what's bad, except for we skipped over, we mentioned, but we kind of skipped over some of those in there that were not great, unless you want to go into those. But anywho,
I don't think there's a point in going into.
We're not going to
issues of The Last Airbender
or After Earth. We hit the happening because
Scientology.
Yeah,
that's what people say. It was an advertisement for Scientology.
Well, but you know what time it is.
I'm gonna just stop coming to this house if I'm so unwelcome.
You're welcome, and then welcome to leave.
It's just, why did I pick you to be my friend?
Well, you didn't. We were born this way.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Good night.
Down and down the rabbit hole.